This week on the Retirement Quick Tips podcast, I'm sharing with you 40 life lessons I've learned in my 40 years to the day. Today, I'm 40 today as I record this. And today I want to talk about investing lessons that I've learned. Now, over the years, 17 years as a financial advisor, I've learned a lot of things and I've seen people make mistakes. I've seen people have wild success with money and investing. And there's definitely a lot of traits. And sometimes these pieces of advice can feel trite, but it's a common thing a lot of times because it's so true. Some of us forget that, or we think we need to reinvent the wheel to be successful at investing, but that's just simply not true. So today I want to share with you 4 lessons that I've learned about investing. And I think that these are the most important lessons, and not in any specific order. The first one is the less often you look at your investments, the better. This isn't to say that you should never look at your investments, because that wouldn't be good either. I would say, though, if you're looking more than monthly, I would reevaluate that. Personally, I have easy access to my investments because it's pooled in with all of my other client accounts and investments and looking at those. So I can easily, as I'm pulling up another client account, I can pull up my account too and see them all together because I have access to hundreds, well, actually over 1,000 different accounts that I can pull up and look at anytime I want to. So it's very easy to pull up my account, my balance, see what my rate of return, how did my portfolio do that day? How much is the stock I just bought last month? How much is that down already? But in reality, I probably look at my investments maybe once a quarter. And that's fine. You might be surprised. I look at my investments much less often than I look at my own clients' investments. The reason why I think this is really important is that when you look once a month or once a quarter, you're more likely to see a gain versus if you look every day, you're like, oh, it was down today. And, you kind of have these emotional swings. And there's a psychological theory about this that tends to hold quite true, which is that if we see a loss, it makes us feel twice as bad as the other side of the coin when you have a gain. So if you're constantly looking, you're going to see a loss more often, and that has a much stronger emotional impact on you than seeing a gain. So you want to avoid seeing the consistent losses. I look at the markets multiple times every single day. If you want to do that, that's fine, but you remember that your portfolio is not a straight line like connecting the dots there. Depending on how you're invested, your portfolio could have a very different reaction to the market. So I think it's fine to keep a pulse on the markets and what's going on in the world. I just wouldn't look at your portfolio and your investments more than once a month. I don't really think it's necessary to do it more often than that. Okay, the second one is time, not timing, is more than just basic investment advice. It is true. And I would tell this to any 18-year-old graduating high school this year. Start saving for retirement as early as you can. Like right now, if you have a job right now, I don't care how much or how little you make, save at least something. Get started in the habit of saving. And there's a great story in The Psychology of Money, which is a book by Morgan Housel. He talks about Warren Buffett. And Warren Buffett, very famous, obviously, for his investment skill. But when you look at his rate of return, it's been impressive. But what's most impressive about Buffett is that he has like an 80-year track record at this point. And most of his net worth gains have come since he reached age, 60, 65. So he started investing. I think he started investing when he was like 10 years old. So 20, 30 years before everybody else, he made some really good investment decisions. So we can't take that out of the equation because obviously that matters too. But the reason why Warren Buffett is so successful more than anything else is because he has like 2 decades head start on everybody else because of when he started investing. That was a powerful takeaway for me. I wish I could shout it from the rooftops at everybody who is younger, because if you can prioritize saving and investing from an early age and not put it off, it's so much easier to save for retirement, save enough and have flexibility and have financial security when you get to retirement simply because you started a little bit earlier. The third one is investing in stocks does not equal, it's not gambling. Anybody who believes that you're just rolling the dice and it's no different than going to a casino, which is actually a good portion of people think that investing in the stock market is akin to gambling. And that is simply not true. It is so far from the truth. They think that they're playing some odds game and like winning the lottery, it's not going to happen for them. But investing is so much simpler than that. If you're consistent, if you're diversified, if you put your money in the stock market long term, you're going to make money. It's a very simple game, if you want to call it that. It's a very simple game. Gambling, the odds are stacked against you. It's completely different. Most people, I think if they think that they're, playing the odds, or maybe they don't have the patience to see the long-term benefits of investing. Because sometimes, you could have a period of 3 to 5 years where you really go sideways. If you have a recession and a down market, it gets old after a while. You're like, my money is not growing. Then people give up on investing and they throw up their hands and they go try something else. But it's like, nope, just stick with it long-term. You have to trust that the US economy is going to continue to grow and that the businesses and the companies in that economy that you're investing in are going to benefit as well. Simple as that. All right. The last one is detachment from one's money is very helpful for keeping and growing one's money. It sounds counterintuitive, but there's that analogy where, if you hold, a handful of sand, it'll sit there in your hand and you're sort of detached from it. You're not gripping it too tightly. But as soon as you squeeze and try to keep the sand and hold it there in your hand, that's when it starts to slip out and slip through your fingers. And the same thing is true with money. It sounds very counterintuitive. Like if you aren't detached from your money, then you're going to be reckless with your money. You're going to make bad decisions because you just don't care. That's not true. The detachment is about staying rational with your decisions, making wise decisions. And you have to have some degree of detachment to be able to do that. Almost like you're advising like a friend of yours about what to do with their money. There's a detachment there because it's not my money. And the same thing is true with an advisor relationship. Like I have a certain amount of detachment because it's not actually my money. I need to be a steward of this money. And that is a better place to be because you're not so locked into whatever emotional thinking patterns you might be in with making decisions about your money. So you can avoid a lot of the temptations of fear and greed by just trying to be a bit more detached. And again, that goes back to the less often you look at your investments, the better. If you are a bit more detached, it's easier to not look so often. So it's a very subtle thing, but when I look at my portfolio, maybe I've had a long stretch of growth, like in 2023, 2024, those were good years. I think, oh, that's nice. And when I look at my portfolio, my personal investment portfolio, because I'm very aggressive, I'm pretty much all in stocks. I had like a 20% drop in 2022. And so I just remind myself that what I own, the quality of the investments I have is good. I'm diversified properly. It will recover. Now, you may sit there and argue, well, you have the luxury of having this detachment because you're still so far out from retirement. And that's true. But I have the same kind of detachment from my clients' money that any financial advisor would have because it's not my money. I'm entrusted with being a good steward of this money. So with that distance also comes clarity and good decision making about what would be the best decision in the long run. So the more you can practice detachment, the more you can stay out of your own way emotionally and focus more on the long term. All right, that's it for today. Thank you so much for listening. My name is Ashley Michike, and this is the Retirement Quick Tips Podcast.